This series analyzes the major arcana of the tarot, the Marseille Bordel Los Carabeo version. The first part offers a brief overview of the tarot's history, how it transformed from a card game to a divination system and later a tool for introspection. What overarching theme unites the major arcana? How might the 22 cards be grouped? Hopefully I can show that there is no need to have an ancient Egyptian origin to contain authentic, hidden wisdom that we can reflect on and learn from. The word arcana means mysteries, secrets. The complete tarot consists of two entirely separate decks, 22 cards called the Major Arcana. The Minor Arcana consists of 56 cards, which have simpler illustrations and show a well-recognizable system similar to French suited cards. The images of the Major Arcana are much more complex. It is not even clear how the 22 cards should be grouped. Based on the depictions, certain connections between the cards are easily noticeable. The most obvious are the cards from the Popess to the Pope. These cards form a symmetric group of 4. The second and third cards are female figures, while the fourth and fifth are male. In the center, the Empress and the Emperor represents the authority, looking toward the axis, inward, extending their will over their world. For the Empress, this signifies forward advancement, but for the Emperor, it already suggests looking back, stagnation. The Popess and the Pope look outward, representing knowledge. There is also an easily noticeable group towards the end of the cards, which includes the star, the moon, and the sun. This, however, is not a symmetric group but a sequence of stages. It is like an ascension, where the first station is the star. For a modern person, the realm of stars is beyond the moon and the sun. Here, however, this card, starting the group, has more of a night meaning, and the trio seems to be related to increasingly brighter light, which is also shown at the top centers by the increasingly larger radiating celestial bodies: star, moon, sun. Upon closer inspection, the Sun card is very similar in form to the Judgment card. Based on this, it might indeed be a group of 4. In this case, the upper force symbolizes the greatest light, judging over the people below on the card. Observing the second half of the deck more closely, 2 other groups of 3 can be noticed before the celestial bodies. In pairs, the strength and temperance are very similar in form, and also the images of the hanged man and the devil, which relate to punishment and restriction, while death and tower each relate to superhuman forces and closure. It is also noticeable that at the end of the first half, 5 other cards form a symmetric group. Here in the center, the axis is justice. On both sides, the Chariot and the Hermit cards are related to progress, and both feature a male figure. The Lovers and the Wheel of Fortune are also similar. Both cards have 2 figures on the sides and one in the middle. In the case of the Lovers, the figure above, Cupid, reminiscent of the later celestial bodies and the Judgment. They symbolize a source of upper force, corresponding also on the Wheel of Fortune card to the wheel and the Sphinx itself. The cards are numbered from the 1st Magician to the 21st, the World. In certain versions of the deck, the Fool card does not have a number. In the French suited cards, the similar Joker cards are the strongest, beating everything. Hence, the Fool card is sometimes ranked at the end of the Major Arcana. However, most often, as in this version, this card received the number 0. Where should the full card be placed? It looks like most of the cards describe a journey, a path. However, the full card is not the part of the journey, but entering its circle. As the 0 also emphasizes, it is like a gate to enter the world of Major Arcana, but yet outside of it. The depiction of the first Magician card is similar in a way, but it serves more to connect the two similar figures. The Fool enters this world and he is the same protagonist who appears on the first Magician card, making his first actions. From here, we follow the circular path of the journey. The first quarter is about actions and gradual accumulations. The second quarter is about the choices we must make. The second half of the circle starts with the double series of triple cards, representing external judgments, far from the concepts that humans do and want to believe about the world, and moreover about themselves. The last part is the ascension, the higher and higher levels of light, where the totality of light is represented by the 20th judgment. That ends the whole circle. The 21st word card is already outside of the circle, outside of the world of humans. The Wuhan figure is the soul of the universe. That means the totality of the higher level of existence, a totally another world. The 22 cards of the Major Arcana can be arranged in a very logical way. 20 cards form an ellipse, with 10 drawing the upper arc and 10 the lower arc. The starting and the closing cards framing the 20 cards are outside the circle. The 0 full card signifies the entry into the circle, meaning it should not be placed after the other cards but in front of them. The 21st word card is already outside the circle. This very last card is like another space, another sky above us, characterized by infinite clarity and unlimited possibilities, a totality and completeness, represented by a full circle. All this is situated above the world of the living and signifies a higher level of existence. The next part gives a brief overview of each card in the full circle of the Fool's journey.